Good morning and welcome to CIS 1100. We're in the 7th week, and if you go through the Blackboard, we have the syllabus link right here, and if you click on that, it will open the window for you that shows you the breakdown of the assignments that we have been working on. And right here we have online trainings. These are what we call the simulation. So we have 8 of them, and they contribute that 2% of your grade. We have the project, 6 projects. So each project is 3 points, 18%. Business cases, we have 2 business cases, 15%. So we just did one business case, which was business case 1. We still have a business case 2. So each is 7.5 points. We have 2 exams, and we are going to be doing 1 exam this week. So exam 1 and 2 each is 20%, both are 20%, and then we have the final assessment, which is 15%. So all the exams, they are 35%. If you scroll down here, you will see the breakdown of all the assignments and when they are due date, and this is week 7. So we are doing the exam review and the exam, and this should be done by the end of this week. And then next week, which is week 8, we'll start working on concept from chapter 5. So this exam 1 is going to cover contents that we have learned in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. So before I go into more details about the practice exam and the exam, I wanted to briefly review what we did this weekend in terms of the project. And this is an example of how the project should have looked like. So the project had 2 worksheets, and we have the first worksheet where you should have put your name and the function for the date. So some people forgot to put their name here, and others type the direct date here instead of putting the function, and that might have led them losing some points. So the other worksheet is one that had information about the questions, and some of the information that I was looking for is making sure that you have the value for the totals here. And the way I can know that you did the computation right is if I click right here on this formula bar here, I will be able to see the formula, and if I click on that, it tells me the values that you're computing. So this is highlighted, so this tells me that you're getting the right values here. If I click on this cell here, this is for the average, and I click there, and tells me that you're doing the average for these values all the way down like that. So I was expecting you to be using this type of formulas, the functions, same thing for maximum and for minimum. Also, in computing the cash flow right here, I was looking for the use of formula. So you have all these values here. This is the monthly net cash flow, and this section here we were computing the year-end summary. So everything that was here was a summary of what is contained in these values down here. There was a point for specifying the information here as January, February, March, all the way down like that. And basically what you did was you typed the word January here, and then you're supposed to autofill, and I gave you a video explanation that shows you how to go about doing that all the way to the end like that. The other point where a number of you lost points is computing the mortgage. So if I click on this cell here, it gives me the formula on the formula bar. So that shows me that you're using the right values here. And the monthly rate is computed by dividing the annual rate by the number of payments, which is 12. So if you're making 24 payments, then you'll divide this value by 24, because then that will be 2 payments every month. So once you get this value, the mortgage number 2, the concept is the same. And then what was left is for you to generate a function here. So you use an if statement in cell C25 that specifies that if somebody has selected 1 here, then they should be specifying this value here. If not, then they specify the value here. And how did I check that? If I come in here and I type 2 and I enter, you should see these values here should be changing. The mortgage should be changing because I've typed in 2 here, so we are selecting this mortgage here. If I come back here and I type 1 and I press enter, then the values here are going to be changing also. So because we're using this mortgage here. So that's another way that I was able to find out whether you're doing the problem right. So this is how the problem should have, the solution should have looked like. You can compare this with what you submitted, and if you see any discrepancy, let me know, and we surely will be able to correct or go through it. Okay, so when you log into my IT lab, this is the calendar assignment calendar, and it will show you what assignments are due. So anything that has a flag shows that the start date for the items, and in this week, today is the 26th, but we have 2 items that we're going to be working on, and one is what we call the practice exam. So we have the practice exam, and if you click on the 26th, which is today, we have the exam. So basically what this means is that the practice exam, which was posted on the 24th, is going to be available until Friday. So you had yesterday, and then you have today and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday to work on the practice exam, and then the actual exam will be available from today all the way to Sunday the 1st. So you have enough time for you to work on the exam. So before you attempt the exam, I will highly encourage you to work on the practice exam. And usually the contents are going to be very similar. The concepts are going to be similar, although the questions might be a little bit different. The concepts are similar. The way the questions are framed, that might be a little bit different. So what I'll do is I'll go briefly through the practice exam so you can see how you are supposed to handle it. And basically what you'll do is you'll click on that button, and then you click on start, and this window will open for us. So this is the interface that you're familiar with. It's the one that you've been using for the simulation. And basically you have 20 questions for the practice. You have three attempts per question, and the time is 45 minutes. So you can do this practice exam as many times as possible, but for each question you only have 3 attempts. So practice, and once you get a 90 and above, then hopefully you'll have gained enough knowledge to go ahead and work on the actual exam. So for instance, now the way the questions are structured is you make sure that you're not changing any orientation or anything. Like for instance, here somebody might say to try to increase the size of the columns here so you can see all the information. And if you do that, the system takes that as an attempt and it's going to note that as incomplete. What do I mean? If I bring my mouse pointer here, I hold it down, and what I'm trying to do is try to see all the information that is here. Hold it down, and then you drag it that way. See what happens? Tells me that's incorrect action. So don't worry about how the information is structured, just read the instructions. And for the first one, you're told enter the first profit margin formula, which is that in cell G5, and then press that. So where is cell G5? This is G5 is right here. So to enter the formula, you always start with the equal sign, and then you open the bracket, and then you type F5, and you're subtracting B5. You close the bracket and you're dividing by F5 like that. So that's the formula that you should be entering right here. So the difference between the practice exam and the actual exam is that in the actual exam you're not given the formula. So here you're given the formula. In the actual exam, like we'll see in a few seconds, you're not given the formula. We expect you to know the formula. So they'll ask you to compute, for instance, the profit margin or the increase or the decrease, and the exam expects you to know the formula. So after that, you can press enter or control alt, and then the system will record that and you'll move to the next question. So when you come here, it tells select and copy the range A1 to H12. So A1, this is A1 to H12 to H12, A1 to H12. So that is our A1 to H12. So you copy that. Oh, excuse me. See, I made a mistake there. So select and copy the range A1 to H12. Exactly. So this is A1, and then this is H1. So H12 will be all the way down to there. See that? So now I have 2 attempts because I made a mistake on the first attempt. So I have copied that, and then I'm supposed to use paste special to paste the range as the values and source formatting starting in cell A15. So identify A15, which is there, and then you right click. Then you have to come to paste special, and you're supposed to be using what? Source formatting. So paste special, and then you look for what? Source formatting as values and source right there. Values and source, and you click that, and the system will record that. And what does it say? And then press escape. So you see you have to do that to finish the assignment. Press escape key on your keyboard, you do that, and then the question is completed. So you go on doing that until you finish. Now you can skip the questions. If you come down here, you can click on that. It's going to move you to the next question, and you can skip and move around, play around until you come to the ones that you're comfortable with, and then you can go back and work on the ones that you are not very familiar with. You can use your book, you can reference is open book, so do that. And that's the same thing with the exam. You can move back and forth. You don't have to be on the same question. If you're not comfortable with a question, you can skip. Okay, so once you're comfortable with the practice exam, now you can come and take the exam. So exam number 1 will be available by clicking on this link here. So if you're doing this on Wednesday, or Thursday, you still can click on it and it's going to be available. Like I say, this exam is available from today up to Sunday. So you can do the exam within that period. So if you click on exam number 1, it's going to ask you for a password, and I'll post the password. So be on the lookout for the password. You will enter the password and it will lead you to this section. Tells you you have 45 minutes to answer 20 questions. You have 3 attempts per question. Please use the password provided by instructor to log in. You've already done that. You click start. There are no more attempts available for this activity. Yeah, so this is how the exam is going to appear. The interface looks almost very similar to the practice exam. So like we said before, don't try to adjust anything. Just read the instructions from here. And in this case, it tells you in cell I4, calculate the actual increase, decrease from the first quarter to the second quarter, blah, 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 all the way down like that. So identify your cell 4, I4. In cell I4, I4 is this cell right here. And then you type in the formula that you're given. So every time that you're typing a formula, you always start with the equal sign, open the brackets, and then you have E4, and you're subtracting that from G4, and then you close the bracket and you're dividing that by G4. And I'm just following the instructions that are right here. Now you can click on the values when you're typing instead of just typing them directly. So you can also do that. And then when you finish that, you press enter and you see what happens. The question is complete. So you got the next part of the question. And that tells you select and copy the range A9 to J9. So A9 is where? It's right there. That's my A9 to J9 all the way down there. A9 to J9 says select and copy and paste the values as source formatting. Cell A12. A12 is right there. Right click and then paste special. Oh, I made a mistake. Right click, paste special, and now you want to do that as what? Values and source formatting. Values and source formatting right there, and then press escape. So you press escape and you finish that task. So this is the actual exam. This is how the exam is going to look like. And like I mentioned before, you can skip around. You don't have to do all the questions in that order. So here I've skipped to question number 4, and you can move on, keep skipping. So these are some of the questions that you're going to find there, and they are very similar to the ones that you have in the simulation exam. So enter a formula in cell G5 that calculates the difference between the attendance total for 2015. So the attendance total for 2015 and 2014. So the increase from 2014 to 2015, you have these values here. So you're just finding the difference between those two and using a formula right here. And then you can go on like that, and the questions will be displayed as you click through all the way to the end. Okay, so these are some of the questions that you're going to encounter. Generate a chart, you can do that. Highlight this cell here, this group here, and then the other group. Then you go to insert, you select the pie chart all the way down like that. And then once you finish, don't forget to hit submit when you get to the last question. So this video is located in the instructional videos, and you can